in the first of our series of special election reports where we take a look at the issues that are going to decide this coming election. Now, when nearly 2 weeks ago Rishi Sunak fired the starting gun, he told us that when the Tories came into office 14 years ago, Labour had crashed the economy. They left a note, he said, saying that there was no money left. So that seems as good a place as any to start. So today we're looking at the economy. They've been banging on about that fucking note for 14 years. 14 years ago, outgoing Labour Chief Secretary to the Treasury left a note to incoming Tory Chief Secretary of the Treasury saying, "Dear Chief Secretary to the Treasury, all the money's gone." Which wasn't exactly a lie, but it was also clearly a fucking joke. You'll notice Labour aren't still talking about when in 1964 the outgoing Tory Chancellor left his successor James Callaghan a note saying, "Good luck, old cock, sorry to leave it in such a mess," which again wasn't exactly a lie, but again was also a fucking joke. When any Tory says that the last time Labour were in government they crashed the economy, they are lying to you. Labour did not crash the economy in 2008. In 2008, there was a thing called the global financial crash. Global financial crash. And that was caused by greedy bankers, disaster capitalists, and hedge fund managers. Hedge fund managers like, Rishi Sunak, Kwasi Kwarteng, and Sajid Javid. Interesting. One of the major factors of the 2008 crash in the UK was when hedge fund company TCI forced ABM to be sold to the Royal Bank of Scotland, which meant the Royal Bank of Scotland went tits up and the taxpayer had to bail it out whilst enduring years of brutal and sustained austerity, supposedly to help clear up the mess that the dodgy bankers had made, because apparently we were all in it together. Remember that? Well, guess who was a partner at hedge fund TCI at the time? Guess who made millions of pounds out of that very banking crash? Guess who made millions of pounds at the country's expense, at your expense, whilst everybody else suffered? Rishi Sunak. He made millions of pounds out of the very chaos he helped create. Rishi Sunak is personally more culpable for that banking crash than anyone who was in government at the time. And yes, Labour overspent, just a teeny bit, but they overspent on things like hospitals and schools and social care and bombing Iraq. They didn't overspend 37 billion on useless test and trace, 26 billion in uncollected fraud that Rishi Sunak personally let slip through his fingers, or 1.6 billion on a barge full of listeria. And now, just like 2008, there's no money left. Again! Only this time it all went to Michelle Mone. When the Tories crashed the economy, it wasn't because of global financial events, it was because Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng had a couple too many lines of gack and thought, fuck it, £45 billion of unfunded tax cuts for the most wealthy, that'll help the country to level up. The next time the Tories lecture anyone about Labour bankrupting the country, 2 words, Liz Truss. If right now you're facing a massive hike in your mortgage repayments, that's Liz Truss. She did that. Next time you hear them talk about fiscal responsibility, 2 words, Nadine Zahawi, the tax-dodging Chancellor of the Exchequer, a man worth over £100 million who dodged millions of pounds of tax whilst making you poorer. He did that. Next time they mention getting inflation under control, 2 words, fuck you, we're not that stupid. Inflation might be slowing, but prices are still 20% higher than in 2021. And whilst they've all been profiteering and handing out billions of pounds in contracts to their rich mates, whilst claiming vast amounts on expenses with their fingers literally in the nation's till, they are making sure it's Angela Rayner's second home fraud that didn't actually happen that makes the front pages of the Telegraph. Whatever you think of Labour, I can't see them suddenly implementing £45 billion of tax cuts for the most wealthy on a whim. In fact, they're not going to do anything radical whatsoever. They are going to actually achieve absolutely fuck all if they win this election. You know why? There's no fucking money left. Well, tomorrow we're looking at the second most important topic for most British voters, and that's immigration. But for now, back to you, Carol.
This is how to get shit fast.
This is robotics. These balloons represent your internal organ.
MAGA Republicans are reacting to Donald Trump's guilty verdict by demanding retribution while also claiming that it will actually help him win the election. But new polling suggests otherwise. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Donald Trump is now a convicted felon after he was found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records to hide a hush money payment to an adult film star in order to defraud voters during the 2016 election. There's not a second part to that. I just like saying the words, you know? Donald Trump is a convicted felon, and that's just a fact. It's not an exaggeration. It's not an ad hominem attack. It's true words. You know, fans of Trump often criticize a show like this one, saying the entirety of the material is Orange Man bad. Orange Man, not just bad, Orange Man convicted by a jury of his peers. Orange Man month bad? Yes. Orange Man have bad month. Now, obviously, having the standard bearer of your political party facing down the prospect of imminent jail time after a felony conviction seems like less than ideal news. But Republicans have been consoling themselves by claiming that actually this will help Trump.
It's a travesty. And politically, I think that's going to help President Trump.
So he's clearly going to use this to his advantage rhetorically on the campaign trail. Thinks it helps. How do you see it?
It does.
This helps Donald Trump.
This conviction just secured Donald Trump being our 47th president on November 5th.
Did they awake a sleeping giant here?
They really did. It has been a big backfire, like the exploding cigar.
And it's like a lot of things that they've tried over the last 7 or 8 years. This is going to backfire. When you're in the media center of New York, this seems like the center of the universe. But if you're out there and you're going to a coffee shop in North Dakota this morning, and you're a farmer that got up and drive 10 miles to go to town to have coffee at 5 in the morning before you go back and farm by yourself all day, you know, if it's the big trial, you'd be like, guilty or innocent. This morning, they're like, what was the crime? What was this all about?
That was North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, whose name sounds like a curse word a farmer would use if a horse got loose. Who left the gate open? Doug Burgum! So let me get this straight. You guys think New Yorkers are out of touch, yet you're the one who thinks farmers go 10 miles into town for coffee every morning? Yep, just can't get on my John Deere until I've had my triple shot extra foam macchiato and a couple of cake pops. What do you mean? What do you mean they're out of cake pops? Doug Burgum! I am certain farmers have coffee makers. They also have TVs and computers. This isn't 12th century medieval Europe. If you've been to a farm lately, they have robots that milk the cows now. You can control it via Wi-Fi from your tablet. In fact, every time you fill a milk bucket, you get a bonus life in Candy Crush. But my favorite example of MAGA weirdos claiming the guilty verdict would just make Trump stronger came from Fox host Jesse Waters, who chose a very bizarre analogy.
Democrats think locking up Trump locks up America first, but it doesn't. Makes it stronger. You ever see the prison bodies on inmates?
What an interesting question that I hope you've never asked within 500 feet of a school. No, I have. Have you? In what circumstance did you see the prison bodies on inmates? It's not great when your pro-Trump talking points sound like the 5th most popular search on Pornhub. Also, there's no way in hell Trump would ever get swole. First of all, he's a 77-year-old man who would be starting from less than scratch. The only workout he's ever done is when he lifts those 2 invisible dumbbells. That's what it looks like when you do jumping jacks with 0-inch vertical. And also, prison's not like Ozempic. It's not a prescription you take that gets you in shape. You still have to do the exercise. What are you guys talking about? Are you thinking about J.K. Simmons and Oz? Because that's a TV show. He didn't get buff in prison. He got buff in real life. Look at this dude. The J.K. is short for jacked.